Hey, have you ever wondered how to count higher with your fingers than just say 10? In this video, I'm going to show you a trick that will allow you to count well above 1,000 just using your fingers. I'm Anthony Rayhana from Yo2C, and this is Ideas That Elevate. Alright, here's how it works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 fingers together. Now we use our pinky for 8, and then our thumb for 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we can do the same thing with the other hand, only we use that for the tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. And then now between both hands, we can count between 0 and 100. You can treat 100 as something like that maybe, because that's a 10, right? So if that's 9, then that's 10, is the idea. Now, that gets us from, say, 0 to 100, but if we wanted to, we can take that idea and we could run up to 1,000. Now, I use the pinky instead of using this finger, because have you ever tried to hold that finger? It's really difficult, unless you're maybe using another hand or something. But for this system, we're going to have to use that finger. Now, there's another very common system known as binary or hexadecimal. And in that case, we just use these 4 fingers. And it gives us from 0 to 15. That gives us from 0 to 15 on this hand and 0 to 15 here. And basically 16 digits on each hand takes us to 256. And that one would work like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And of course, this works a lot easier if maybe just holding your hands on the, if you're holding your hands on the table or on some solid surface. And then you can do the same thing with the other hand. Well, that gets you to 256, but if you add the thumb in, that gets you to 512, and then your other thumb gets you to 1024. So something that really helps with this system is to memorize the doubles, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, and so on. All here, I've got them all here on this chart, and so I highly recommend that you write this down somewhere, print it out, something like that, and recite that regularly, or just run off your fingers. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, and get to know those numbers very well. And so here's another cheat sheet. This one is to convert between the different numbers. Now, I highly recommend that you memorize these decimal numbers here: 16, 32, 48, 64, 80, 96, and remember them relative to this number set over here. Now, this is hexadecimal, a very common numbering system utilized by engineers and programmers all throughout the world. Is a sort of a numerical representation of the binary system that we're using here. Notice that when we get up to 100 after 90, instead of going to 100, we go to AO. That would be, well, here's your 90, right? Your 90, and now we go, to your 100. That would be AO. So we use the letters to represent these. So that's AO, there's BO, there's CO, there's DO, EO, and FO, right? And here in this chart are the decimal equivalents of those numbers. And so I highly recommend that you memorize those numbers. 16, 32, 48, that would be 48. That's 64, 128. And the combinations of, there's only 16 of them to remember, so, that's not hard to do. But now, once you've memorized these, the higher numbers here, well, now you've got to add them to these low numbers. When you're dealing with the numbers, one way to simplify things for yourself a bit is to round these numbers off to their decimal. So instead of dealing with 192, we round that down to 190. Or instead of dealing with 128, round it up to 130, and then add your number. So 130 plus 14, and you get 144. Now, to get from 128 to 130, we had to add 2. So you just subtract 2 from the final result. So you go, 130 plus 14, 144, minus 2, that's 142. So that's one way to do these sort of calculations in your head. Round them up, and it'll make it easier. Say if it's 192, then we round it down to, say, 190, add 14, and you get, say, 204, and then make your adjustment. Because you had to round down, you have to lift it up, and so this is 206. So on the cheat sheet here, that's why we have these numbers rounded up to their nearest decimal. So that's a way to count to very high numbers using your fingers, and how to convert between different systems like binary and hexadecimal and decimal, and how to train yourself to instinctively work with these numbers and convert between the different systems just in your head as you're trying to work with them. So I highly recommend that you memorize this chart and get yourself to a place where you can just rattle off, oh, that's 96, that's 240, and things like that. And you know them off by heart, 192, things like that. And so that's it. That's how to count to really high numbers just using your fingers. Let that expand your mind. I'm Anthony Rayhana, and this is Ideas that Elevate from the OTC.